With the Mark 4s extruder set and ready to accept our newly built multi-material unit, it's time to finally get this thing installed and set up, get through calibration, and get started with some multicolor printing. We'll begin by getting the MMU3 connected to the printer then. Of course, we're using a Mark 4s in this example, and so with the spool holder removed, we can go ahead and clip the MMU onto the top frame in its place. We're now ready to connect this up to the printer's electronics, so proceed to remove all 4 screws holding the electronics board cover in place, in order to remove it completely and now providing access to the board. Before we do anything here though, we also need to remove the 2 screws holding the extruder and X motor bundles in place, in order to release it completely, and break off the end tab, since we'll be using this area to feed through the MMU cables. And that's precisely what we'll do next, so proceed to feed the MMU cable bundle through the hole in the electronics board chassis, and connect the end to the board in the shown location. We can then proceed to neaten the cable route using a zip tie, before placing the top mount back down into position, now trapping the MMU cable bundle in the end, and secure using the same 2 removed screws. We're done with electronics, so the cover can now go back into place, and re-secure with the original 4 screws. And that's the hardware completely installed and ready to use, so we'll now move across to the software setup. We'll assume you have the latest version of Prusa Slicer already installed on your computer for the next few steps. If not, it can be downloaded and installed from the Prusa download section of the webpage. But more specifically, we'll need to download the latest firmware for your printer model, as well as for the MMU3. Once downloaded and extracted, we'll find 2 firmware files, one for the printer, which can be copied across to a USB, and the second for the MMU itself, which we'll leave on the computer for the moment. Before we apply these though, launch Prusa Slicer on your computer, and enter the configuration menu in order to launch the configuration assistant, and after passing through the first few steps, select the printer in use. So in our example, we're using the Mark 4s along with a standard 0.4mm nozzle, the combination that's generally recommended by Prusa, and either go through the remaining options or click Finish to end the wizard. From this point onwards, we will always select this profile when slicing and sending any models to the printer. With the software side prepared then, we can now move back to the printer where we attach the USB drive with the freshly downloaded firmware and proceed to apply power. Should a firmware update be needed, the printer will flash to the provided version. This particular unit is running a newer beta firmware however, so we get straight to the system's home screen. Start by navigating into the menu, as we want to ensure the nozzle is correctly set to the standard 0.4 and not the high flow nozzle we previously swapped out. With that confirmed, we can now head back into the settings and select the option to enable the MMU, although the printer may ask for the filament sensor to be recalibrated first. We need to proceed with this, so follow this through and insert a piece of filament when instructed, and after a few seconds, the sensor is calibrated and ready to use. We can then head back and re-enable the MMU again. This option not only turns on the MMU functionality, but also turns on the power for the MMU unit, and it will go through a short self-test routine, wait for it to complete, and once complete we can verify all is working by testing the buttons to ensure the selector moves correctly and lines up with each corresponding filament slot. Also notice how the filament icon on the main screen has now changed, along with all the options within it. We'll come back to this shortly. For now, we're ready to flash and update the MMU with the previously downloaded firmware. To do this, begin by connecting the MMU to your computer using the included micro USB cable, and then within Prusa Slicer, select the option to flash printer firmware located in the configuration menu. Here we can browse for and select the MMU3 firmware we previously downloaded, while the serial port should be auto-detected as long as the USB cable is successfully connected, after which we can simply hit the flash button to begin the firmware application process. This doesn't take very long, and we're looking for the flashing succeeded message, as seen here. With that done, we can safely remove the USB cable from the MMU. Okay, so next we need to recalibrate the gearbox, considering we've been replacing parts inside. So navigate to Control, Calibration and Tests, and scroll down and select the gear's calibration. The process is pretty self-explanatory, involving opening the idler door, loosening the 3 screws by 1.5 turns each, and then let the calibration complete. You'll only see the gears moving through the open idler door. Once instructed, retighten the 3 screws in the correct order, and close the idler door. At this point, stop to check the footer information on the printer's display screen. By activating the MMU, you should have the filament sensor and the finder sensor information on the status bar. If for some reason this information is not displayed, or you want to adjust the order, you can do so by entering Settings, User Interface, and select Footer. Here you'll want to make sure the sensor or filament sensor and the finder sensor are selected in any of the fields, after which they will be displayed on the bottom of your main screen. We'll use this information to calibrate the super finder sensor next, so double check the inspection window on the side where we previously set the sensor to align the top of the window, giving us a good starting point. Back up on the selector, insert a piece of filament into the brass hole at the front. The steel ball rises upon inserting the filament, and the magnet pulls the ball back down when the filament is removed. The rising of the ball should be detected by the super finder sensor, which has a very dim light on the top of it, so in a darker setting, we should see that when the filament is inserted and the ball rises, the sensor light turns off. Test this several times to ensure it's completely reliable. If this doesn't work, you'll need to release the side screw and raise the sensor if the light never turns on at all, or lower it if it never turns off. You can also check the outcome on the display screen as you insert and remove the filament. There is a slight lag here, so take things slowly, but check several times to confirm reliability. All that's left at this point is to get the filament path complete, so proceed to install the first PTFE fitting into the top of the extruder, where it can be hand screwed into place, and the second into the brass part of the selector, in order to push fit the provided PTFE tube into place on both ends, taking care to use the shorter tube since this has a larger 2.5mm internal diameter to allow for the filament ends to pass through. Next, we can seat the buffer into place, connecting the bottom row of PTFE tubes we previously attached into the correct collets on the rear of the MMU, taking care to ensure 1 goes into 1, 2 goes into 2, and so on. After which the remaining long PTFE tubes can connect to the top row of collets in each buffer magazine, and these go out to the actual filament spools. It's not the neatest setup to be fair, although stick around as we'll be creating a much neater aftermarket solution. For now though, we're ready to load filament and get started with our first test print.